Welcome to a battlefield of minds. Two grandmasters face off where every move cuts like a sword. One mistake, and it's over. This isn't just chess. It's war disguised as strategy. Let's dive in, move by move, into this epic clash. Wesley So opens calmly with knight to f3, a flexible probe, quietly claiming control while hiding intentions behind disciplined development. Alexander Grishuk mirrors with knight to f6, solid and watchful, signaling readiness for a complex strategic duel rather than immediate fireworks. Wesley pushes pawn to c4, expanding queenside space, hinting at English structures and long-term central pressure. Grishuk responds with g6, fianchetting ambitions clear, preparing a dragon-like bishop to breathe fire later. Wesley develops knight to c3, reinforcing central influence and keeping options wide open for an eventual pawn store. Grishuk slides bishop to g7, the long diagonal now alive, eyes already cutting through the center like a sniper. Wesley strikes with e4, boldly staking a central claim, transforming quiet maneuvering into a full-scale battlefield. Grishuk answers with 6, a restrained but sturdy foundation, accepting tension while preparing counterpunches. Wesley advances d4, building an imposing pawn duo, squeezing space and daring black to challenge the center. Grishuk castles kingside, securing safety early, trusting dynamic play and counterattacks to balance the position. Wesley develops bishop to e2, modest yet purposeful, keeping kingside flexible and preparing for safe castling. Grishuk plays e5, directly challenging the center, a confrontational thrust that sharpens the struggle immediately. Wesley castles kingside, king tucked away, signaling readiness for middle-game violence without fear. Grishuk brings knight to chicks, increasing pressure on d4 and e5, pieces coordinating with growing menace. Wesley pushes d5, locking the center and gaining space, a strategic clamp that defines the coming battle lines. Grishuk retreats knight to e7, repositioning calmly, accepting space loss for future flexibility. Wesley reroutes knight to a1, a subtle maneuver, preparing f3 and g4 ideas with long-term attacking intent. Grishuk plays n7, reinforcing central squares, patiently regrouping for a counterstrike. Wesley advances f3, supporting e4 and signaling aggressive kingside ambitions with controlled preparation. Grishuk fires back with 5, immediate tension, challenging structure and announcing that peace is over. Wesley develops bishop to e3, solidifying center control and eyeing queenside pressure. Grishuk pushes forward, space-gaining and provocative, cramping white while opening lines for an attack. Wesley retreats bishop to f2, preserving the peace, maintaining diagonal pressure and structural harmony. Grishuk lunges with g5, aggressive and committal, throwing pawns forward like fuel on a fire. Wesley plays Racon, a quiet but sharp rook lift, reinforcing c-file and preparing queenside operations. Grishuk develops knight to g6, aiming at h4 and f-hour, pieces now circling white's king. Wesley advances c5, gaining queenside space and provoking tactical responses, the board stretching dangerously. Grishuk captures, with nxe5, knight plunging forward, grabbing material but stepping into potential traps. Wesley pushes b4, immediately chasing the knight. Aggressive space gain with tactical undertones. Grishuk retreats knight to s6, awkward but necessary, already paying a price for that capture. Wesley jumps, knight to b5, increasing queenside pressure, pieces swarming like sharks sensing blood. Grishuk develops bishop to d7, connecting rooks and bracing against the coming storm. Wesley plays a4, fixing queenside structure, squeezing black's pieces with relentless special pressure. Grishuk responds f5, counterplay ignited, flinging pawns toward white's king with dangerous intent. Wesley centralizes knight to d3, reinforcing control and preparing flexible defensive and offensive resources. Grishuk doubles Rook's intentions with rf7, a multi-purpose move, defending and hinting at a kingside lift. Wesley lifts Rook to c4, an active maneuver, Rook now aggressively posted, eyeing weaknesses everywhere. Grishuk retreats bishop to fate, defensive regrouping, dark squares must be held at all costs. Wesley tucks king to hone, a quiet sidestep, avoiding checks and sharpening rook and queen coordination. Grishuk swings rook to g7, attack fully signaled, heavy pieces lining up toward white's king. Wesley So plays Rook, calmly reinforcing the kingside, turning defense into latent offense while staring down black's looming threats. Alexander Grishuk retreats knight to height, an awkward defensive shuffle, signaling kingside aggression may be overextended. Wesley advances g3, challenging the pawn chain directly, opening lines and daring black to commit fully. Grishuk captures with fxd3, a pawn sacrifice opening files, blood spilled as the kingside explodes open. Wesley recaptures, rxg3. Rook storms into danger, fearless and active, immediately punishing black's structural gamble. Grishuk plays nsf7, regrouping defensively, trying to plug holes as white's pieces swarm forward. Wesley brings queen to cone, centralizing calmly, connecting forces and preparing a decisive assault. Grishuk thrusts g4, attacking with desperation, hoping momentum compensates for growing positional cracks. Wesley So plays fxg4. The f-pawn strikes sideways, cutting black's attack at the root and opening files with cold-blooded accuracy. Alexander Grishuk answers xeg4. The h-pawn recaptures desperately, keeping lines open but further weakening the kingside shield. Wesley So jumps nce7, a tactical thunderbolt. The knight crashes in, stealing material and shredding black's coordination instantly. Alexander Grishuk responds nxe7, forced and grim, trading knights while conceding momentum and initiative to white. Wesley So recaptures rx7, Rook invades the 7th rank, active, dominant, and dripping with positional poison. Alexander Grishuk blocks with r8, countering the intrusion, hoping exchanges will dull white's mounting pressure. Wesley So trades with rx8, simplifying ruthlessly, converting initiative into concrete, irreversible gains. Alexander Grishuk replies bx8, bishop dragged back into defense, black's army growing cramped and passive. Wesley So captures bx7, a precise queenside grab, stripping pawns and exposing long-term weaknesses without fear. Alexander Grishuk plays bd7, regrouping pieces, desperately trying to stitch together a collapsing position. Wesley So retreats b3, centralizing calmly, keeping harmony while preserving long-term attacking threats. Alexander Grishuk launches qh4, queen lunges forward, a last aggressive gesture searching for counterplay. Wesley So answers nf2, ice-cold defense, covering key squares and extinguishing all immediate threats. Alexander Grishuk steps kite, king sidesteps nervously, danger still lurking on every diagonal. Wesley So plays qgon, precise alignment, queen and rook coordinate, tightening the noose around black's king. Alexander Grishuk grabs bx4, a greedy capture, snatching material but bleeding tempo at a fatal moment. Wesley So responds bx4, bishop slices through, eliminating attackers and restoring full control. Alexander Grishuk moves kag8, king shuffles uneasily, sensing the mating net beginning to close. Wesley So plants b6, a dominating outpost, slicing the board in half and suffocating black's mobility. Alexander Grishuk retreats bb5, interposing meekly, a purely defensive move under heavy pressure. Wesley So sacrifices rxx e7, a stunning explosion. Rook crashes in with check, shattering black's kingside cover. Alexander Grishuk is forced bx e7. Bishop captures helplessly, but the defense is now fatally compromised. Wesley So plays qg6. Queen infiltrates menacingly, threats multiplying with lethal clarity. Alexander Grishuk tries qf6, offering exchanges, clinging to survival by the thinnest thread. Wesley So accepts qesf6, no hesitation, stripping queens and steering cleanly into a winning endgame. Alexander Grishuk recaptures bxf6, forced and passive, pieces now scattered and overstretched. Wesley So jumps ying4, knight lunges forward, tightening the vice with direct mating threats. Alexander Grishuk steps kg7, king staggers, desperately searching for shelter that no longer exists. Wesley So centralizes kg2, king marches confidently, white's domination now complete. Alexander Grishuk plays eng5, knight jumps in hope, but the counterplay is hollow. Wesley So answers bf5, a freezing move, cutting escape squares and locking black's pieces in place. Alexander Grishuk plays b2. The bishop steps forward actively, blocking vital lines and fighting back, not retreating, buying a crucial defensive tempo. Wesley So advances kg3, king boldly steps forward, total control asserted without fear. Alexander Grishuk retreats b8, utter passivity. Black's army collapses into a defensive shell. Wesley So pushes h4, fixing pawns, methodically constructing the final mating net. Alexander Grishuk jumps, nf3, a spiteful check attempt, but it lacks real substance. Wesley So delivers bh6, bishop cuts deep, check lands like a hammer blow. Alexander Grishuk is forced chaos-even, king stumbles under relentless pressure. Wesley So advances h5, sealing escape squares, the trap snapping shut. Alexander Grishuk checks bhre, a desperate gesture, prolonging the agony briefly. Wesley So calmly moves kj2 unshaken, execution imminent. Alexander Grishuk plays n5, knight flails again, but all threats are illusions now. Wesley So strikes bg6, a precise dagger, driving the king into total confinement. Alexander Grishuk steps k7, last refuge sought, but every square is poisoned. Wesley So repositions n3, quiet and deadly, controlling everything that matters. Alexander Grishuk gives bf3, a final spite check, completely futile. Wesley So slides k2, smooth and composed. Nothing can stop what's coming. Alexander Grishuk plays kf6, king wanders into the open, utterly exposed. Wesley So jumps in f5, crushing and final, sealing all escape routes. Alexander Grishuk captures b4, meaningless material grab in a lost position. Wesley So delivers b7 hash, a flawless checkmate. Bishop falls like an executioner's blade, ending the war decisively. The video ends here. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. Please don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel to support me. Thank you again, everyone. See you in the next video.